Father Jonathan, how you doing, bud? It's good to see you. Get my camera straight here. Thomas Churchill, how you doing, brother? You must be across the pond, yeah? Hope everyone is doing well. Marvel Joe, how you doing? Welcome to the channel, brother. I have never seen your name before. To your point, you just said that you're new, but welcome. It is good to have you here. John's Comics with Kids, it is good to see you. Life is good, just in Kentucky. Okay, because you said good morning, I assume. My bad. 10, 11, 12, yeah, okay. All right, cool. Hope everyone's doing well. So I sat down this evening and I turned on Netflix because I was going to watch the second episode of The Iron Fist. And the first thing that pops up was the Black Panther. I have not seen the Black Panther, probably one of the few people out there that hasn't seen it. Popped it up right on Netflix. So I am about 50 minutes into the Black Panther and was thoroughly enjoying the show. And then a box came from CGC a little while ago, and then I'm watching the show and I took a break to talk to my wife. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna jump on, I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna unbox this thing, and then I'm gonna go back to the Black Panther. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but it is pretty good so far. I guess I see what all the excitement is about with that particular movie. So Comic Geek, how you doing? One of the few people that have not seen it, so I'm definitely looking forward to finishing the Black Panther here. So, and also hopefully catching up on the Iron Fist as well, because I thought episode 1 of the Iron Fist was pretty good, maybe a little bit better than last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's about, and of course looking forward to finishing the Black Panther. So one thing I also wanted to do before I get to the unboxing is I wanted to address some comments that I made yesterday during my live stream. So I was talking a little bit about like the Disney Fox deal and what was happening with that and the impact that it was having on comic books. And somehow I think maybe I didn't set it up the right way or fully explain it the right way, and someone had a takeaway that I did not intend. And so what I wanted to say is that I tend to buy comics because I enjoy reading them, and I enjoy being able to buy the things that I always wanted to buy as a kid but didn't necessarily have the money to do so, right? So I definitely consider myself fortunate that I can actually live out some of my childhood dreams, right? And many of the books that I buy are books that I've always wanted. They're books that I want to read. They're characters that I'm interested in, right? So someone yesterday suggested that, or maybe it was the day before, suggested I buy the first appearance of the Swamp Thing. I think it was Swamp Thing. I've never read a Swamp Thing book in my life, right? And so to buy that book would not be something that I would do because it's not a character that I'm interested in. It is definitely a hot book. It is a gorgeous cover, but it's not a book that I would buy. So the books that I buy tend to be the things that I'm interested in, and I'm not necessarily chasing the hype or chasing anything other than the book that I want. So a lot of times, if you think about comics in general, there is an abundance of comics out there, right? You've got Marvel, DC, Valiant, Image, you've got all these different publishers, all these different titles, all these characters. And so how does one try to prioritize what you want to spend your money on now versus later? And for me, again, I buy the things that I'm interested in. And what I try to do is I try to pay attention to what's happening in the market. And if there is a book that I'm interested in or a character, and it's a book that I'm going to buy, I want to pay attention to the market dynamics so that I could potentially buy that book now versus having the price of that book that I'm going to buy anyway run up as a result of market conditions, right? So if let's just say that I was a Captain Marvel fan, right? Why would I wait until after the Captain Marvel movie and trailers and all that kind of stuff comes out to buy it versus buying it now, right? If I'm going to buy it, it would make sense to buy it now, maybe at a better price. So, you know, I'm making these comments because I don't think I fully explained what I meant when I was talking yesterday about like X-Men 1, for example, and Amazing Spider-Man 1. So I wanted to kind of clarify some of that. And my hope is that that kind of helps people, right? So, you know, I am not buying because of the speculation. I am buying a book that I want and that I'm interested in reading and having in my collection to prevent the price of the book from running up because of speculation. So hopefully that kind of helps. All right. So with that, we are going to do an unboxing. So for some of you may not necessarily know this, but a couple of weeks ago, a buddy of the channel, a guy by the name of Tony Sanders, reached out to me. I think it was via Instagram, and he said, I have a mystery for me, right? And basically what we ended up doing is having a conversation about J. Scott Campbell. Everyone knows who J. Scott Campbell is, right? But J. Scott Campbell, there were some assumptions that had been made around what his first published work was and where it appeared and how it appeared and things like that. And so Tony brought to me essentially a mystery where he basically said, I may have discovered some work of J. Scott Campbell that is earlier than his previously assumed work. And Tony gave me an opportunity to actually look into it. And I worked with a couple of other people. And sure enough, we believe that we had identified some J. Scott Campbell, or Jeffrey Scott, as he was known then, some of his earliest work in Savage Dragon #3. We did a little bit of research. We believed it to be true. We actually, one guy, Kingpin Comics, actually reached out to J. Scott Campbell, and he sort of confirmed it on Instagram that this was some of his early work. I packaged that stuff up. I sent it over to CGC. CGC kind of sort of acknowledged it and were like, hey, we're going to look into it. And then I had a little bit of back and forth with them where they basically said, hey, if you send in the book, we will research it, we will investigate it, and if we indeed believe it to be true, we will update the label to reflect that. And so what I did is I packaged up my books. I sent the books off to CGC with the hope that they would do just that. And that would be grade my books, investigate the data and the information that I provided them, and then have the graders, not the graders notes, but the label notes reflect that acknowledgement and reflect that data. So what I have in my hand are two books that I have not looked at yet, and we'll see if the labels do indeed reflect what we thought to be true. So if it's not, I'm going to be a little disappointed. But if it does reflect the research that we did on J. Scott Campbell, it'll be a really cool thing to have been a part of. So let's see. So this is, wow, high grade. All right. Nope, didn't do it. So here is Savage Dragon #3 from Image from 1993. They gave me a 9.8 on this one, white pages, of course. And the label, unfortunately, just says Image Comics #0 coupon included. So definitely a little bit of a disappointment that they didn't do anything with the label. And I don't know if that means that they rejected the research that was submitted, or if because I fast tracked these things that they didn't have time to do it. But here is another one, #3 as well, also with a 9.8. But unfortunately, nothing referencing the J. Scott Campbell pinup that is in here on the very last page. So long story short, J. Scott Campbell ended up winning a contest that was being sponsored by Jim Lee. He started working for Image Comics, and he ended up doing some sketches somehow, and one of those sketches was actually published in the letters section of Savage Dragon #3. His earliest work, I do believe, was in I think later in the year, I want to say 94 maybe, or maybe later 93. So we hope that we had it right, but I guess not. If you're interested though in watching that video, you may want to go back and check it out. But we have 2 copies of Savage Dragon number 3 with 9.8s. Very cool grades. One of these actually came off of the shelf. I freed it from the shelf back in '93. Another I actually acquired as part of a collection. I think I have like 1 and 2 signed by Erik Larsen, but somehow maybe 3 wasn't out at the time that I met him, which was probably like in '92 or something like that. So yeah, comics with John's Comics with Kids. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a disappointment that didn't happen, you know, because I was very hopeful. And in fact, what I ended up doing was printing off the email exchange that I had with the people over at CGC, and I included that in my submission when I sent these books in. So I was hopeful that they would have gotten it, would have read it, would have read it, sorry, looked into it and had the label reflected, but that is not the case. So like Thomas said, you know, I guess it's good that I have 2 9.8s, but it would have been really cool to have that stuff in there. And yeah, I'm a big Erik Larsen fan as well, especially during his Spider-Man run. So Gomez Comic Collector is saying, did he hear a giveaway? Brother, I have never done a giveaway. I've never done a giveaway at all. I've thought about it several times, and I've of course watched several people do the giveaways. I've never done it. I've thought about it, but I've never gotten around to it. So who knows? Who knows? Did you see the post by Erik Larsen with his stack of 4,000? Oh my goodness. So RB3, welcome to the chat, brother. No, I didn't see that. Was that on Instagram? 4,000 original art pages in his house. That is insane. Wow. Also, it wasn't paid work. Most of it could have been said amateur JSC work. Yeah, maybe. Well, he was employed at the time, though, by Image. So I'm not sure if it was paid or not. I'm not sure. Because I want to say that his first publication for Image was a couple of pinups in the swimsuit issue, which came out shortly after this Savage Dragon did. So I'm not sure if it was, I'm not sure. I guess published artwork says letter section, even though it technically is. Yeah, Big Will raises a good point. You know, you raise a good point. And I guess it's the same point as comic crypto stock. So who knows? On Facebook. So I guess I need to go over to Facebook. I am never really on Facebook, but maybe I need to go to Facebook if indeed Erik Larsen has posted up a photo of 4,000 original art pages over there. So I may have to check that out. Agree, it's a good time to do your first giveaway. King of the Golden States, good to see you, brother. Are you going to the show over there in San Mateo on Sunday? A couple of Ben and Chris, mostly Ben, he reached out to me. Tech31 Kid, he reached out to me and sent me a message the other day about this show over in San Mateo. So I wasn't sure if you're going to go. So, so King of Golden State is saying I have a voice for radio. Brother, I have a face for TV and a voice for radio. No. What's interesting though, my man, is that I was a communications major in college. Published a writer when I was 16, but I was more interested in writing than anything else. Never really the visual communications, but I have done some closed circuit TV and lots of stage time in front of groups of people. So, oh, so you're up north. Okay, going up north, got things going on. I respect that, brother, no doubt. So yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm going to go to the show. It's on Sunday in San Mateo. I think like the San Mateo Fairgrounds or something like that, if there is such a thing. I kind of scanned the thing, so I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. It's relatively cheap to get in, but I heard that there aren't as many comics there as other local shows, so I'm not quite sure. John's Comics is saying I'm waiting for my big 1,000 subs. Man, honestly, if I did a giveaway, I'd probably get to 1,000 in like a day or so. Because right now I think I'm sitting at like 833 or something like that. For me to do a giveaway, I have to probably figure out how to use that random.org or whatever that thing is, and I don't know. I haven't been able to do that. Then like you feel like you've got to do it live, or you got to do it so people can see it. And I haven't figured out how to capture all that stuff. I don't know. All right. So RB3 is saying that Eric Larson posted this thing up on Facebook yesterday. I'm going to swing by as soon as I finish this up and check this out, you know. No comics is a no-go. Yeah. So, oh, here Dan is saying San Mateo Fairgrounds off of El Camino. There we go. Okay. I know exactly. I used to take El Camino down south because I worked in Redwood City. So I kind of sort of know where that is. Oh, wait a minute. RB3 is doing a giveaway Saturday. I will is this in it to win it? What is this? In it to win it? What, like 7 or 8? Are we that far in yet? Miss Hustle, how you doing? Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I will do a giveaway. I don't know. I need to think more about it to figure out if that's what I want to do. Because I'm definitely trying to get to 1,000 subs. We all know that, right? So I don't know. We'll see. Got it. Cool. Oh, dang, Berkeley Con. Yeah. All right. In it to win it, number 8. Cool. I am definitely going to, number 9. All right. So if you guys haven't followed my buddy RB3, I highly encourage you guys to do it. He has some awesome giveaways. And in fact, he hooked me up. I won his contest a couple of months ago. And I am now in the possession of one of my very few DC books ever. But what makes this DC book really cool to me is that it is signed by Jim Lee. And I am a huge Jim Lee fan. It is, I think it is the only Jim Lee signed comic that I have in my entire collection. So I'm super thankful to RB3 for having sponsored this contest a couple of months ago. So if you guys haven't checked him out, great analysis on comic books and also just good content in general. So definitely check him out. But if you win the In It to Win It number 9, you have to share the prize with me. So Dan Bull, the San Mateo show, I want to say is Sunday. It is this Sunday. I will give you the time in just a moment. I want to say it was like 10 to, I want to say it was like 10 to something, 10 to 5 or something like that. Yeah, 10 to 5 is when it is. It is the South City Comic-Con. Trying to pull it up here. It's the 3rd annual South City Comic-Con, September 16th, San Mateo Fairgrounds on Saratoga from 10 to 5. There you go. Admission is $10 at the door. So not sure if I'm going to get by there, but I just thought it was cool. These guys reached out to me and gave me a heads up. So maybe I'll swing by. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So for everybody here, if you guys remember, probably a couple of months ago now, I did a series of videos talking about J. Scott Campbell's early published work, at least what we believe to be his earliest published work. And some have kind of made the argument that maybe it was amateur work. We're not quite sure whether it was amateur or professional. But we discovered in Savage Dragon number 3 a pinup, essentially a sketch that he had done of Savage Dragon shortly after he started working for Jim Lee at Image Comics. So with all this research that we kind of pulled together, including the confirmation from J. Scott Campbell that this was some of his early work, I bundled all this stuff up. I sent it off to CGC with a couple of copies of Savage Dragon number 3, hoping that they would look at the data, look at the evidence, and make an adjustment to the label for the book. So the books have come back, and I actually have 2 of them, 2 copies of Savage Dragon number 3, one that I freed from the rack myself, one that I acquired as part of a collection. But unfortunately, the label does not reflect anything about a J. Scott Campbell sketch. They acknowledge here that both versions have the Image Comics 0 coupon included, but there is no mention of J. Scott Campbell. The cool thing, however, is that this wonderful Eric Larson story cover and interior art pages came back as a 9.8. So if there is a bright spot, it is that I sent this thing in, got a 9.8. I didn't get either of the books pressed. I was like, whatever the grade is, it'll be that grade. Sent both in unpressed. Both came back as 9.8s, but a little disappointed that the label doesn't reflect anything regarding the pinup in the inside on the letter section and the very last page. So not even with a notation, brother, not a comment, nothing. So a little bit of a disappointment there, but it was still cool, right? I think it was, oh man, I'm blanking on his name right now. DS Comics, good guy out there. He has done something similar a couple of times. I want to say he's done it maybe 4 times, and 2 times they have actually made adjustments to things based upon the evidence that he sent in. I am 0 for 1, I guess. Yeah, 0 for 1 for mine. So maybe we'll unravel another mystery and take another shot on goal, and maybe we will go 1 for 1 or 1 for 2. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for that. But again, it's all just fun stuff. Yeah, exactly. Crypto Comic Stop says next time just send 1 copy. Amen, brother. Amen to that. So it is all good. It is all a lesson. You take shot on goal, and sometimes you score, and sometimes you don't. So with that, I am about to head back into the other room. I pulled up Netflix today to watch Iron Fist season 2, episode 2, and I was presented with The Black Panther, a movie that I have not seen yet. So I am about 50 minutes into that movie and thoroughly enjoying it. I am going to say thank you to all of you guys for spending a small part of your evening with me, and I'm going to go back and watch this movie. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do so. There was, I think, 2 of you that have just joined the channel recently, but I say thank you to each and every one of you for, again, spending a little bit of time with me. All right, thank you guys. Wakanda forever. Hold on, gotta. I'll see you guys later.